Good morning to everyone. It's a little different having this in the morning versus the afternoon, but thank you for joining me today for a couple of brief announcements. I'm glad to be joined today by Secretary Dr. Jose Romero of the Department of Health. We have Secretary Amy Fetcher of Transportation and Shared Services, and Colonel Ader as well, our Program Manager for our vaccine distribution. As everyone knows, the current public health emergency was initiated on March 11 of 2020, and it has been regularly renewed for the past 14 months. Today I'm announcing an end to the public health emergency effective May 30th. The reason that we're ending the public health emergency declaration is that everybody in Arkansas knows what to do. Our hospitalizations are down. Every adult in Arkansas, in fact 12 plus years of age, have access to vaccines that we did not have access before. Everyone knows what to do. It is not an emergency. It is a maintenance of effort in terms of our vaccines and managing the pandemic. My emergency orders from telemedicine and liability protection have been enacted into law. So there's not any emergency orders that are dependent upon the public emergency continuing. It is important to understand that we are still in a pandemic. The fact that I am ending the declaration of a public health emergency does not change the fact that we still have the COVID-19 virus in our community. It does not change the fact that our public health system has to continue to deal with it. It doesn't change the fact that we need to continue to get vaccinations out. We can do this in terms of a long-term maintenance of effort, and it is not necessary to have the emergency declaration to carry out this public health responsibility. The public health concerns remain, and everyone in Arkansas needs to continue to take the virus seriously and to act accordingly. And the fact that I'm ending the public health emergency should not diminish anyone's intensity on the need to get a vaccination or the need to protect from the virus that is still remaining in parts of our communities. We are in a vaccination campaign, and that is our focus, and it will remain our focus. Today I'm pleased to announce that we have a $6.4 million ad campaign for this calendar year to encourage the public to get vaccinations. In addition to that $6.4 million, we are spending another $2 million for a minority ad campaign that is targeting particular groups with specific messages. I did want to play two of the ads that will be played in this ad campaign that's currently undergoing. And the first one, you should be able to recognize a rather famous Arkansan.
Hello, my name is Sidney Moncrief. I've taken over 10,000 shots during my career. And one of them is the COVID-19 vaccine. It's safe, it's effective, and it will allow us to return back to normal. Let's vaccinate Arkansas so we can all get back in the game. It's the easiest shot you will ever take.
Save lives. Get your vaccination. Learn more at healthy.arkansas.gov.
Sidney still has a good form in his shot. And then the next ad, you probably haven't seen, it's a regional ad that I think is very effective. And let's play this.
As a business owner, I think it's important to get vaccinated for people to feel comfortable to come in, for our employees to feel comfortable.
I decided to take the vaccine because of my health and everybody else's health in the community.
I've been vaccinated. I've had both my shots, and I feel comfortable now.
Well, it just helps everybody. If everybody take it, then nobody has to worry about nothing. You just go on and do your business.
Save lives. Get your vaccination. Learn more at healthy.arkansas.gov.
Those are called influencers. those that the public hopefully identifies with, but also gives confidence of those small businesses that they're protecting their workplace, and the importance of their employees and the public being vaccinated is an important message. And I applaud the Department of Health and our ad team for development of that campaign. And as you can see, that last ad talked about the workplace. And that brings me to the third announcement today, and that is I'm pleased to announce that we're going to give a $100 bonus for executive branch state agency employees who have received at least one COVID-19 vaccination. Now, when I say it's $100, that's net to them, so it's really going to be a $200 bonus, but with the holding taxes, we wanted them to get at least $100 in their hand. And so it will be $100 cash check to the executive branch state agency employees who get at least one COVID-19 vaccination. This will include 25,772 employees, and if we achieve a 70% vaccination rate, it will cost about $3.6 million. This will be absorbed by our agencies in their ordinary budget and personnel costs. We do want to get this reimbursed by American Rescue Plan funds, and so that will be the plan to have this covered in the long term. If they have their vaccination and they can show that, then this check would be issued after July 1. That gives us time to tabulate and get everybody on board with the vaccination, and it'll also be in the next fiscal year that we can issue those checks. The reason we're doing this is that we want employees to be vaccinated, and we want them to be safe in the workplace, but just as importantly, our state workers in many instances are providing an environment for the public to come in and do business. And we want the public to know that the workplace, we're doing everything we can to make it safe and to have the employees that are vaccinated, and this is an important step for our employees. Right now, we have 43.7% of our state agency employees that are already vaccinated. And so obviously that's not where we want it to be. We want it to be higher. We want it to get up to the 70% range. We want to reach the President's goal of 50%, my goal of 50% of all Arkansans vaccinated, his goal of 70% of adults being vaccinated. And so we're working on those goals, and this will help us to get there. Contract employees are not eligible, and again, this is for executive branch agency employees, but we have talked to some of the independent agencies. They like the idea, so I'm hopeful that many other of the different departments and employers and state government will embrace this as well to really enhance the opportunity for and incentives for our workers to get vaccinated. And so with that, I'm happy to turn it open to any questions you might have.
The decision on the emergency order, the fact that you would have had to get legislative approval to extend it, did that factor into your decision at all? And without this order in place, what tools do you have if things turn around, if we start seeing hospitalizations go up in other areas?
No, my decision is based upon what I see as happening in the state of Arkansas, and that we're in a maintenance of effort. We're in a vaccination program. I don't need executive emergency powers right now to accomplish that. If it changes, I have the option of renewing the emergency order, and I've thought that through, and obviously if we don't get the vaccinations out, if we have a resurge of this COVID-19 in the fall, and we have to have emergency measures in place, we can always reinstitute the emergency if need be, but I'm hopeful that we won't be there. And I'd like to think that we're not going to have that surge if everybody in Arkansas does what is needed, get the vaccine if you're in a situation to get that.
The effect on the National Guard deployment, and is there anything else that will change as a result of not having the emergency?
Not in terms of the National Guard deployment, because I can deploy them as need be based upon my role as Commander-in-Chief of the state military. If you remember, whenever I asked for the last extension of the emergency, I referenced SNAP benefits that would be in jeopardy if the emergency is not continued. And so those are supplemental SNAP benefits that apply during an emergency. Those right now are set to expire in June, I believe, late June. And we'll be working with HHS out of Washington to see if we can qualify for that, or whether there's American Rescue Plans funds that might be needed to supplement that. But I did not want that to stand in the way with the other resources we have in ending that emergency.
Have you kicked around any ideas on how to incentivize the general public? Obviously, some other states are kind of really going outside the box with basically, vaccine lotteries. Has there anything been bandied about in your office?
The answer is absolutely yes. And we're still studying that. I don't want to get ahead of the game, but this is one thing that I can do with the funding that we have in place for incentivizing state employees. I know that employees in the private sector, employers in the private sector, are incentivizing their employees in a similar fashion. And so this is consistent with what we want employers to do: encourage vaccinations, incentivize when it's possible. In terms of the general public, we'll continue to look at that. There's we don't have our American Rescue Plan funds in place yet, or the plan for distribution. There's a number of steps to go through, and we have some very strict guidelines in reference to things like lotteries that are a little bit more challenging than perhaps in other states. But we would like to have some programs that people get excited about that will draw attention to the need and also proper encouragement.
What are you hoping that the public thinks when they watch these two ads?
One, that it's a positive thought that goes through their mind about vaccines, and saying that if City Moncrief thinks it's good, it ought to be good. If the business owners, and I identify with each one of those employers. I've been in many of those places of business, and I think that the public will see that as cool, as a reaffirming message, and a common sense citizen that says, let's get the vaccine. And so I think they will think of it as a real encouragement.
Payment to the state employees, is that dependent upon proof of inoculation?
That's correct. We'll still work through that, and the agency director will be able to determine, but each employee will have a vaccination card that they can go in and submit their proof of vaccination and qualify them for the bonus. And it is retroactive, and so if you've already received your vaccination shot, you still qualify for that bonus because you already have done the right thing. But if you have it, you go get it, you show proof of your vaccination, and then the HR team will be able to put you in line for that bonus payment.
Be approved by the legislature?
I'm sorry?
The bonuses need legislative approval?
The answer is no, because we already have the appropriations for it, and it's something that we can do within our existing budget. Again, if we ask for American Rescue Plan funds, then yes, the legislature will have to approve the reimbursement of the American Rescue Plan funds, but it will not slow down us implementing that tool for our workers.
A non-COVID question for you on the I-40 bridge. There have been additional photos that have surfaced from 2016 that appear to show the crack on the bridge. Given the fact that it was missed 2019, 2020, are you concerned about the possibility that it may have existed even longer than that? And what else do you think needs to be looked at with the program?
Director Tudor would have to address any previous inspections or thoughts that it might have existed prior to 2019. But as I've said, from a public standpoint, the public should be reassured of the fact that it was caught in an inspection, and secondly, the time that it was not caught in an inspection and discovered, that there was disciplinary action taken very quickly, and processes were changed to make sure those inspections are redundant and that they're examined in the right way, and we will not miss that in the future. And so I applaud Director Tudor for how she has handled that. Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to comment at all on a lawsuit that's been filed over some of the laws that passed this session related to voting and elections?
I haven't seen the lawsuits yet, so we'll just have to see how those develop. There's not a surprise that lawsuits are filed after some of the controversial bills that were passed. We expect them on some of the abortion-related bills, probably some of the transgender bills. We expect lawsuits on the voting changes that were made. I looked at those carefully, and it looks like they would pass constitutional muster to me, but we'll just wait and see how the lawsuits develop, and I'll look at those and perhaps have more comments after I read them.
Piggybacking off Andrew here, do you have any concerns now that, with the I-40 bridge being egregiously missed, about any bridges throughout the state, and then I guess too also kind of how that department in general is run, considering something as egregious as that crack in I-40 was missed?
Well, again, Director Tudor has addressed that, and I think she's taken exactly the same, or the right approach to it, and I think what it speaks to in terms of the public is, thank goodness, the public passed Issue 1, which gives us more state funds that are needed to do inspections, to do repair work, and to assure the safety of our highways and bridges. And so it illustrates the fact that that was a wise investment of our dollars here in Arkansas, and we needed Issue 1, and it's going to make a big difference in safety. And this, what we see with the I-40 bridge, illustrates that.
Your office announced yesterday that I think Kevin Case was appointed to the Medical Marijuana Commission. Can you say a little bit about why he was selected and what he brings to the commission?
Kevin has served the state in different capacities. I've known him. He's familiar with the regulatory environment as a business owner, and whenever you look at the Marijuana Commission, I needed someone with an understanding of regulatory process, but the small business understands the private sector side as well, and I thought he's a great choice for that. And it's not an easy job, and so I'm just grateful that Kevin's willing to serve in that capacity, and I know he'll do a great job. Y'all are terrific today. Thank you for your time and for your attention to these announcements.